In these uncertain times, it is crucial for all of us to stay vigilant. The unsettling possibility that the true Third Secret of Fatima may come to pass as soon as 2024 should deeply concern all believers. The prophecies of Fatima have always stirred the hearts and minds of many, with the Vatican revealing in 2000 that the Third Secret showed an angel with a flaming sword, poised to bring devastation upon the world. On May 13, 1917, three humble shepherd children, Lucia, Francisco, and Jacinta, experienced a divine apparition in a place called Cova da Iria. The radiant figure, whom they believed to be Our Lady of Fatima, entrusted them with three grave secrets. These messages foreshadowed tremendous trials for humanity, including conflicts that would shake both the Church and the world to its core. The third secret, the most mysterious and ominous of all, was concealed for many years due to its alarming content. But what does this final prophecy hold for us? Could it foretell catastrophic events on the horizon? In this video, we explore the chilling revelations of the Third Secret of Fatima and examine why it could soon become a grim reality. If your faith is strong, stay with us and subscribe for more insights into these crucial warnings. The story begins in Fatima, a quiet town nestled in Portugal. On a day that would change their lives forever, three innocent children were tending their sheep in a place known as Cova da Iria, also called the Cove of Peace. It was high noon, and after reciting the rosary, as they did each day, they began to play. Suddenly, a brilliant flash of light pierced the sky. Fearing a storm, the children hurried to gather the sheep and return home. But then, a second, even more dazzling light appeared. Above a small oak tree, a radiant glow emerged, and within it, a beautiful lady dressed in white hovered gracefully. Holding a white rosary in her hands, she spoke to the children. This divine encounter marked the beginning of an extraordinary journey that continues to captivate the world to this day. The lady, whom the children believed to be the Blessed Virgin Mary, implored them to pray the rosary daily for the sake of world peace and the end of all wars. Her request was just the start of several miraculous apparitions that would later be known as the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima. Her words were shrouded in mystery, and the secrets she entrusted to the children remained hidden for many years. It wasn't until July 1941 that Lucia, one of the children, now a nun, was instructed by her bishop to reveal the first two secrets. These secrets showed terrifying visions of hell and grave prophecies for humanity's future. However, the most ominous of all, the third secret, remained veiled in silence for much longer. Days turned into decades, and it wasn't until Sister Lucia entrusted the third secret to the Pope in a sealed envelope that the content began to stir speculation. Discussions, theories, and even conspiracy rumors swirled around this secret, fueling debates among scholars and devotees alike. Its revelation caused controversies and various interpretations around the world. Recently, the Pope has shared vital information to clarify the meaning and consequences of these secrets. His words aim to shed light on the messages of Fatima and their significance in our present times. The visions at Cova da Iria sparked further debate among scholars. Some believe that the name Our Lady of Fatima simply refers to the location of the apparitions in Fatima, Portugal. Others suggest that the name Fatima holds Islamic significance, as it was the name of the Prophet Muhammad's beloved daughter. Though this association is not widely recognized in all Islamic communities, some draw parallels between Fatima and Mary. In both Christianity and Islam, Mary is revered for her purity and devotion to God. In Islam, there is even an entire chapter in the Quran devoted to her, Maryam, the mother of Jesus Isa in Islam. Despite differences in the portrayals of her story, Mary is a figure of profound respect in both traditions. Likewise, Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad, is also honored in Islam for her virtues. The connection between Mary and Fatima is often debated, but what remains undeniable is that the 1917 visions took place in a town named Fatima and were revealed by Mary, the Mother of God. During her first apparition, Mary asked the three shepherd children to return to the same spot on the 13th of each month for 6 consecutive months. She foretold that they would face trials, but reassured them that their faithfulness would lead them to heaven. Mary also urged them to pray the rosary daily to bring peace and end wars. In the second apparition, On June 13, 1917, Mary gave specific instructions for them to add the Fatima prayer at the end of each rosary decade. When the children expressed their longing for heaven, Mary responded tenderly. She revealed that Francisco and Jacinta would soon be taken to heaven, while Lucia would remain on earth longer to continue spreading devotion to her Immaculate Heart. Dear listeners, the third apparition on July 13, 1917, was perhaps the most harrowing of all. Mary granted the children a vision of hell, filled with the anguished souls of the damned. She emphasized that God wished for the world to embrace devotion to her Immaculate Heart, as this would be a path to salvation for souls on the brink of eternal damnation. Additionally, Mary foretold the onset of World War II and prophesied the suffering of Christians in Russia. She warned that if Russia were not consecrated to her Immaculate Heart, and if prayers were not offered, the country would spread its errors across the globe, instigating wars and widespread persecution of the Church. The fourth meeting, planned for August 19, 1917, was met with unforeseen obstacles. The children were detained by the local administrator who sought to prevent them from meeting Mary. However, their devotion remained unshaken. Just 6 days later, on August 25th, Mary appeared to them once more, this time in a nearby field. She urged them to intensify their prayers and sacrifices for sinners, explaining that countless souls were being lost to hell because there were too few willing to offer prayers for their salvation. Through each of these profound encounters, Mary's message to the children and to the world was clear. Prayer, sacrifice, and devotion are the keys to peace and to the salvation of souls. Though they were simple children, their obedience to Mary's words became a testament to the power of faith and the critical importance of heeding heaven's warnings. Following these miraculous apparitions, Francisco and Jacinta tragically passed away within a year of each other due to a devastating flu epidemic that struck Fatima. Even in his grave illness, Francisco remained steadfast in his devotion, offering sacrifices to console the Lord until his peaceful passing in 1919. Initially, he was laid to rest in the local cemetery. Jacinta, too, endured great suffering, dedicating her final days to fervent prayer for world peace and the salvation of lost souls. She died in 1920 and was first buried in her family's tomb before being transferred to the parish cemetery. By 1930, the Catholic Church officially recognized the miraculous nature of the apparitions experienced by the children, deeming them worthy of belief. In 1952, a special tomb was prepared for Francisco and Jacinta, placing them on either side of the main altar as symbols of light, guiding the faithful. Their unwavering devotion continues to inspire believers worldwide. Meanwhile, Lucia embraced the religious life, becoming a nun in 1934. By 1941, she shared her detailed account in the memoirs of Sister Lucia, revealing the secrets entrusted to her and her cousins by the Blessed Virgin Mary. In her memoirs, Lucia unveiled the first of the 3 secrets, a vision so terrifying that it left a deep impression on the children. The Blessed Virgin showed them a horrifying glimpse of hell, a vast sea of fire located beneath the earth's surface. Within this fiery abyss, countless souls, tormented and suffering, writhed in agony alongside demonic figures. The souls appeared as burning embers, floating helplessly amidst the scorching flames, while the demons took on hideous forms, their black, transparent bodies only amplifying their grotesque and terrifying appearance. Sister Lucia described the vision as an overwhelming experience of suffering and horror, a revelation that profoundly marked the children and instilled in them a deep sense of urgency to pray for the salvation of souls. After this terrifying vision, the lady also shared a message of hope and redemption. She informed the children that there was a way to save many souls from this dreadful fate and to prevent wars from devastating the world. The solution, according to her, was for people to stop offending God. She warned that if people did not change their ways, even worse consequences could occur. Interestingly, the lady's message proved to be significant, as adherence to her requests coincided with the end of World War I, which was happening at that time. This celestial figure shared these mysteries with the children, but there was more to tell. The second mystery foretold that the First World War would end, but soon another, the Second World War, would come during the time of Pope Pius X. The lady gave a sign for the children to know when this would happen. A strange and bright light would appear in the night sky. This light would be a warning that God was about to punish the world with wars, famines, and persecutions because of the many sins of the people. The lady also explained that the only way to prevent these disasters was to dedicate Russia to her Immaculate Heart and to perform acts of reparation on the first Saturdays of each month. She promised that if they did as she asked, peace would return and Russia would change. However, if they did not follow her directions, the world would suffer from wars, persecution of the church, and many would become martyrs. These revelations filled the children with a sense of purpose and great happiness. As they followed the lady's advice, their dedication to her Immaculate Heart became a pillar of strength and guidance, helping them face challenges and sacrifices along the way. The lady's promises to always be with them in the ultimate triumph of her Immaculate Heart gave them hope and direction, strengthening their faith and commitment to her words. Now that we have discussed the first two secrets, let's talk about the most mysterious one of all, the Third Secret of Fatima. When Sister Lucia revealed the third secret, the young girl who had seen Mother Mary in Fatima had already received 3 secrets. She wrote down and sealed the secret in an envelope. Despite her bishop's encouragement to share it, she believed it was not yet the right time. She thought that the secret needed to be understood within a context that would only become clear much later. After approximately 19 years, in 1960, the sealed envelope was opened, but its contents were only revealed in the year 2000. In Lucia's vision, she saw an angel holding a flaming sword. The flames seemed about to set the world on fire. The angel was to the left of the lady, holding the sword with his left hand. The flames were extinguished by the brilliance emanating from the lady's right hand. During this vision, the angel was persistently calling for penance before a very intense light appeared before them. This powerful vision conveyed an urgent message about the need for repentance and divine intervention. The children were profoundly affected by these visions, which carry deep spiritual and moral significance for the world. The Third Secret of Fatima sparked intense discussions and interpretations as it emphasized the vital importance of prayer, penance, and devotion to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. These sacred practices were presented as key to winning spiritual battles and securing the promise of peace through obedience to God's commandments and heartfelt devotion to Mary. Sister Lucia later recounted that in the vision, the children saw a figure resembling a bishop dressed in white, illuminated by a brilliant light, as if reflected in a mirror. Based on their understanding, they believed this figure to be the Pope. As the vision unfolded, Lucia and the other children saw religious figures, bishops, priests, and nuns climbing a steep and arduous mountain. At the summit of this mountain stood a large cross constructed from the trunks of cork trees. The Pope, weary and sorrowful, made his way up the mountain with great difficulty, traversing through a city partially in ruins. Trembling with grief, he prayed over the bodies of the fallen that lay in his path. When the Pope finally reached the cross, he was attacked by soldiers who shot arrows and bullets at him, resulting in his death. Tragically, the other religious figures climbing the mountain met the same fate. At the foot of the cross, 2 angels appeared, holding crystal containers in their hands. With these, they gathered the blood of the martyrs, blessing their souls as they ascended to heaven. This poignant vision remains a reminder of the spiritual battles we face and the ultimate triumph of faith, sacrifice, and devotion. It calls upon the faithful to embrace prayer, penance, and a deep connection to the Immaculate Heart of Mary as the path to true peace and salvation. On May 13, 1981, exactly 64 years after the first appearance of Mary in Fatima, there was an assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. The shooters fired 4 bullets at him, which led to a long and complex surgery to save his life. The vision described by Lucia clearly depicted a scene of great suffering and martyrdom. Some scholars interpret the image of the bishop dressed in white, the steep climb, and the brutal deaths at the foot of the cross as symbols of the challenges and sacrifices faced by the Church. They believe that the angels collecting the blood of the martyrs symbolize the holiness and eternal reward for their sacrifices. This vision is seen as a sign of the great challenges that the Church and its leaders would face. Additionally, the assassination attempt on John Paul II is often considered a partial confirmation of this vision. The Pope's survival and the events that followed are viewed as representations of the ongoing spiritual battles and the need for faith and perseverance. While the Pope was recovering from the assassination attempt, he spoke from the hospital where he was admitted, declaring that he had forgiven the man who tried to kill him. It took him 2 months to recover enough to return home. This event sparked speculation about whether it could be the fulfillment of the Third Secret of Fatima. The Pope himself believed that his survival was a miracle due to the intervention of the Virgin Mary. In gratitude, he visited the Fatima shrine in Portugal the following year. During this visit, he delivered the bullet that nearly killed him, and it was placed in the crown of the statue of the Queen of Fatima, fitting perfectly into a space between the branches of the crown. In the year 2000, the Vatican declared that all events related to the Third Secret of Fatima had been fulfilled, but this did not mark the end of the controversy. From another perspective, Cardinal Ratzinger, one of the greatest theologians of the 20th century and future Pope Benedict, was the most important of his life. He also wrote a text about the Third Secret, expressing his view that despite all the speculation, the secret might end up being disappointing or less surprising than expected, without revealing great mysteries or clearly predicting the future. He emphasized that the vision's purpose was not to present a fixed and immutable future, but to encourage mobilization for positive changes. Ratzinger criticized fatalistic interpretations of the Third Secret, such as the idea that the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II on May 13th. He clarified that the attack was not influenced by a divine force and contested the notion of predestination, arguing that people have choices in their actions. He concluded that the vision was meant to warn about dangers and show how humanity could avoid these risks, shifting the focus from fatalistic predictions to the importance of human action in shaping the future. Mary's visions, including the mysteries of Fatima and other manifestations approved by the Catholic Church, are examples of special events that the Church accepts and recognizes. Even with doubts about the authenticity of these phenomena, there is a detailed procedure the Church follows to investigate each case. Initially, the local bishop examines the situation. He assesses the character and reliability of the person claiming to have seen Mary. If necessary, even the Vatican can conduct additional investigations to confirm the event's authenticity. Our Lady of Guadalupe stands as one of the most cherished and revered figures in Marian apparitions across the globe. Her story takes us back to 1531, when she is believed to have appeared to an indigenous man named Juan Gio on Mount Tepeyac, near what is now Mexico City. During this miraculous encounter, the Virgin Mary requested that a church be built on that very spot in her honor. When Juan Diego conveyed this divine message to the local church authorities, they were skeptical and demanded a sign to confirm the authenticity of his claim. In response to this request, the Virgin Mary appeared to Juan Diego again and instructed him to gather rare flowers, which bloomed miraculously despite the harsh conditions of the region and the season. She placed these extraordinary flowers in Juan Diego's tilma, a simple cloak he wore. When Juan Diego presented the flowers to the bishop, a miracle occurred. As the flowers tumbled out of the tilma, a breathtaking image of Our Lady was revealed, imprinted on the fabric itself. This miraculous image became a sacred icon, deeply intertwined with Mexican faith and culture. Today, it resides in the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico City, one of the most visited pilgrimage destinations in the world. The devotion to Our Lady of Guadalupe transcends national borders, reaching as far as a shrine near Chicago, where approximately 400 pilgrims from the United States and Canada gather annually to celebrate and honor her. In a similar vein, the Marian apparitions in Lourdes, a small town in France, are among the most renowned and meticulously studied in the world. In 1858, a young girl named Bernadette Soubirous experienced 18 visions of the Virgin Mary, during which she was guided to pray and inspire her community to return to God. In one such apparition, Bernadette uncovered a spring of water, which is believed to possess miraculous healing powers. Since that time, Lourdes has become a significant center for religious pilgrimage, drawing millions of believers each year, seeking both physical and spiritual healing. On the other side of Europe and Ireland, in the town of Knock, there was also a remarkable apparition of Mary, but with different details. In 1879, several people reported seeing Mary, Saint Joseph, and Saint John the Evangelist praying together in a light rain. This apparition stood out for having no spoken messages, being seen as a sign of peace and comfort for the people there. Unlike the clear messages given in Lourdes, the silent visit in Knock showed that even just presence and image can bring relief and spiritual inspiration, demonstrating the variety in the ways and purposes of Mary's visits around the world. The visions of Mary in Kibio, Rwanda, from 1981 to 1989, are also extremely significant in the history of Marian apparitions. During this period, Mary is said to have appeared to 3 children, asking them to pray the rosary 3 times a day to increase their devotion. This request emphasized the urgent need for a deeper connection with spirituality. Additionally, these apparitions included a troubling prediction. Mary warned of a great tragedy that was to come. This warning is often related to the 1994 genocide in Rwanda, where hundreds of thousands of people were killed due to ethnic conflicts. As we reflect on the accuracy of Mary's warnings and the profound impact of her apparitions, it becomes clear that her messages are as relevant today as they were when first revealed. The predictions, especially those tied to disaster and war, have stirred the hearts of both the faithful and scholars, urging them to consider the significance of these divine encounters. Recent events, such as the arrest of one of the key figures responsible for the Rwandan genocide, remind us that justice, healing, and reconciliation are ongoing processes. This poignant development serves as a powerful reminder that the wounds of the past continue to shape our present, and the need for peace and reconciliation remains as urgent as urgent. Mary's apparitions in Kibiho were not merely calls to faith, but solemn warnings about the dire consequences of division and violence, a message that resonates deeply in our world today. Throughout history, Mary's apparitions have spanned across continents and cultures, delivering a universal message of prayer, repentance, and devotion. Each apparition, whether in Fatima, Guadalupe, or Quibajo, carries with it a profound call for spiritual renewal and conversion. In 1959, for example, Adele Breeze in the United States experienced a vision of Mary, urging her to pray for sinners and educate children in the Catholic faith. This apparition reinforced the importance of prayer and religious education, 2 pillars that sustain the Catholic community even in the face of adversity. Similarly, in 1973, Sister Agnes Sasagawa in Japan received a message echoing the need for repentance and devotion to the Rosary, messages that closely aligned with the calls heard in Fatima decades earlier. These apparitions, though separated by time and geography, share common themes that speak to the universal human need for spiritual transformation. Pope Francis has repeatedly spoken of the importance of Mary's messages, particularly in relation to the Third Secret of Fatima. He has interpreted this revelation as a warning of wars, martyrdoms, and the consequences of humanity's failure to seek peace. His reflections on global conflicts, such as his remarks after the terrorist attacks in Paris and his plea in January 2023 for an end to the ongoing wars, mirror the somber predictions found in the Third Secret. The Pope's words serve as a reminder that we live in precarious times, where the threat of widespread conflict looms large. His teachings underscore the critical importance of prayer, repentance, and a commitment to peace in order to prevent the tragedies foretold by Sister Lucia from becoming reality. These messages from Mary are not just historical footnotes, but enduring calls to action. They remind us that through prayer and penance we can turn the tide of violence and strife. Mary's call for conversion and devotion was not confined to a particular era or region, but is a message for all of humanity, urging us to reflect deeply on our own lives and the state of the world. The urgency of her message cannot be overstated. As the world continues to grapple with conflict and division, her call to prayer and repentance remains a beacon of hope, guiding us toward a path of peace and reconciliation. In today's world, the prophecies of Fatima remain a powerful testament to the need for spiritual vigilance. They challenge us to examine our role in fostering peace and to take meaningful action to prevent future conflicts. As we pondered the significance of Sister Lucia's revelations and the Pope's ongoing reflections, we are reminded that the responsibility to pray for peace and work for justice falls upon all of us. The question remains, are we listening to these divine warnings, and will we act before it's too late? In light of today's events, we must not ignore the call to prayer, repentance, and global unity. The messages of Fatima are not relics of the past. They are blueprints for a future filled with hope and healing. If we heed their call, could the third secret manifest in our lifetime? Are we living through its unfolding now? The answers lie within our response to these divine invitations to change. If you want to explore more about these profound mysteries and what the future may hold, click the link on your screen. And if this message resonates with you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content.